Good afternoon, students. Uh, we'll be continuing the lesson Human Health and Diseases. Yesterday, I had asked some questions to you. With that, let us begin the chapter for today. Question asked was this one. What is that? What is the meaning of pandemic disease? What is the meaning of epidemic disease? It was a question asked yesterday. I hope you have found out the answer for that, but let me give the answer also. Epidemic. You know that the COVID-19 was first origin in a place called as Wuhan in China. Agree with me? If it is found in Wuhan in China and it remains only in Wuhan or maybe spreading to entire China, then the particular disease is called as epidemic disease. Means it is present in large amount in a particular region, maybe like China. But what had occurred? That particular disease called as COVID-19 took the passport from the Wuhan and spread what? Globally. If a disease is spread to the global sector or maybe into the entire continent, that is called as pandemic disease. That means the COVID-19 is the pandemic disease. Hope you understood regarding epidemic as well as pandemic. Let me continue some questions to you. I want you to answer that itself. The first question is, in which disease we will find intestinal perforation? Can you answer, students? Yes, you are right. It's a disease which has sustained high fever. Its name is typhoid. So typhoid has intestinal perforation in the severe cases. Okay. I have taken one more word here. In which disease lips and nail turns blue? Let me answer. See here. What happens when an alveoli is filled with the mucus? In which disease, tell me? Yes, alveoli is filled with the mucus in the case of the pneumonia. Cells are not getting properly oxygen. Then the condition is called as blue baby syndrome. Blue baby syndrome because cells we are not getting oxygen and they become deoxygenated. In those conditions, lips and nail can turn blue. So lips and nail can turn blue in the case of severe pneumonia. So in the case of severe pneumonia, lips and nail can turn blue. Okay. DPT. What is DPT? It's a triple vaccine given against, not against, given to prevent disease like, yes, diphtheria, also called as Galagotu, pertussis, also called as whooping cough, tetanus. So diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, three diseases can be controlled by using DPT vaccine. Allergy. What's my question? Allergy, is it a infectious or non-infectious? Give me the answer. Yes, it's a non-infectious disease. It's a non-infectious disease because a particular person having allergy, maybe if he is having allergy for pollen grains, if he is having allergy for maybe to the peanuts, we will not get that allergy just by being with him. Non-infectious disease. One more question. In which disease you heard about the word called as bubons? Can you answer? Yes, bubons in armpits and groin region is found in the case of Black Death. What's Black Death? It's the plague. And plague was one of the pandemic disease earlier, preferably during the Second World War. Hyperparasite. Where we discussed this word called hyperparasite. Yes, plague. What is hyperparasite? A parasite present in the body of another parasite. That means I can tell it's a parasite of another parasite. That is called as hyperparasite. How it was? A parasite called as Yersinia pestis, which is causing plague, found in another parasite called as rat flea, Xenophila. So hyperparasite. Okay. And very important one word I have to discuss with you. What is that? Many students had asked in our portal, trichonellosis, is it a helminthus disease or is it a protozoan disease? Students, listen carefully. Trichonellosis is the helminthus disease. It's a helminthus disease. That means I have to look into that once again. The yesterday's big flow chart which we had written regarding the different type of diseases. Please once again see that. See here. When you see this flow chart, we will find here trichonellosis, right? Under the helminthus disease. Yesterday I had done under the protozoan disease also. Please remember, trichonellosis is the helminthus disease. Then why I wrote the word trichonellosis here? No, it should not be trichonellosis. Under the protozoan, it's a trichomoniasis. Trichomoniasis. Please remember, trichonellosis is the helminthus disease. Trichomoniasis is the protozoan disease. See the word tri, how confusing words. Till the ch both are same. Trichomoniasis is a protozoan disease. Trichonellosis is the helminthus disease. I think now your doubts are clear regarding that. Okay, students, that means you can take down the snapshot now because we have made a proper corrections here. I'll give time to you. Take down the snapshot. Yes, I think you are finished with that. Listen, students, I have given here a 9 bacterial disease. Have you finished typhoid yesterday? Yes. Pneumonia? Yes. Cholera? No. Today I'll be discussing that. Diphtheria? Yes, yesterday we have finished it. Tetanus? Yes, we have finished it. Lockjaw condition? Pertussis, whooping cough? That also we have finished it. What about the plague? What about the plague? Yes, plague also yesterday we have finished this. Tuberculosis has been finished. Dysentery, it was not finished. That means today I'll be taking dysentery and cholera for the discussion. And in addition to that, students, you should remember this is a work which I'm going to give to you and you have to do it and come tomorrow. What is that? In a chapter called reproductive health, there are some sexually transmitted diseases which is caused by bacteria, and those diseases you have to list and come. So you have one work of listing out sexually transmitted disease caused by bacteria by referring human health and diseases chapter. Hope you can do that. And under viral disease also some STDs are there, sexually transmitted diseases that also you will be going to list. So that means it is not 14, it has become still more later. Today I'll be discussing additional viral diseases regarding poxes, which I did not write yesterday. Poxes also will be discussed today. Trichomoniasis, today which we have mentioned here, it is also sexually transmitted disease. Please remember that. Okay. Students, without any delay, let us begin some of the left out bacterial disease. And the left out bacterial disease which I'm going to discuss today is the cholera. Not much about that, very little let us discuss. Cholera is caused by a bacteria called as Vibrio cholerae. Vibrio cholerae, which causes cholera disease. And Vibrio word, if you see, you can understand it's a comma-shaped bacteria. It's a comma-shaped bacteria, Vibrio cholerae, and it causes a disease called as cholera. It's a foodborne disease, or else I can tell it is a oral route. The pathogen comes from the oral route, and food or a water, which is if it is contaminated with the bacteria called as Vibrio cholerae. And one important symptom which you should remember regarding the cholera, what is that? That is the condition is called as diarrhea. Diarrhea is, in the last year we have discussed regarding diarrhea. Diarrhea, improper bowel movement where person starts passing the stool which is watery. Watery feces comes out because the colon, the rectum is not retaining the feces there, that is called as diarrhea. And a diarrhea has a specific symptom. What is that? It is a rice water stool. Right water stool is a symptom of the cholera. What is the meaning of rice water stool? When we boil the rice, what is the appearance of the water? Same will be the appearance of the diarrhea in the case of the cholera. It's very important, students. These all things cannot be taken as a disgusting words, because when you become doctor, you have to be asking all this with the patients when you go for the practice. Okay, rice water stool in the case of cholera. A person is suffering from diarrhea, and doctor will give him one advice. What is that? To take ORS, oral rehydration, oral rehydration solution. Oral rehydration solution is called as ORS. What is the important composition of ORS? This can be asked for the competitive exam. Oral rehydration solution contains preferably one, it contains sodium chloride. It contains potassium chloride. It contains third one, sodium citrate. And very important fourth one, it contains glucose. So what are the electrolytes present in the case of oral rehydration solutions? Once again, sodium chloride, potassium chloride, sodium citrate, and glucose. What is the function of the ORS? To rehydrate the cells. Because person has lost a lot of electrolytes during the diarrhea. So till now we were discussing regarding cholera, the public hygienic or a personal hygienic condition. If it is not there, the person can get cholera. Hope you understood. Cholera caused by Vibrio cholerae. It's a oral route pathogen enters the body. Diarrhea is a symptom. Rice water stool is the appearance of the watery feces, and oral rehydration solution has to be taken to rehydrate the body, and these are the composition of the ORS. If you ask me, there's an urgent condition, person is suffering from the diarrhea. Is there any chance of preparing oral rehydration solution at home? Answer is yes. Oral rehydration solution can be prepared at home just by taking table salt and sucrose, which is available at home, and water. Proportionate mixing of this can be a oral rehydration solution for in the case of urgent cases. We are moving on to the next aspect. Next and last bacterial disease, which is called dysentery. First question, is dysentery and diarrhea are same? If you ask me, I will tell you. What is the meaning? In the case of dysentery, the diarrhea means the watery stool will be containing blood and mucus. If a blood and mucus is present in the watery stool, then it is called as dysentery. That means you should understand dysentery is because of the damage. There will be damage to tissue. If there's a damage to tissue, then it leads to formation of what? Blood and mucus. How? We can give some examples later. So dysentery will have the watery stool containing blood and mucus. But diarrhea, it contains watery stool because there is no damage to dash tissues. So I will once again tell dysentery is type of diarrhea. Which are the famous bacteria which can cause dysentery? I'll give one example for that, Shigella. Shigella is a bacteria which can cause dysentery. So hope you understood regarding the word dysentery. So with that, we have done with all the bacterial disease. And if I ask you one question, what can be the remedy in the case of bacterial disease? Without any doubt, you should tell it's antibiotics. Antibiotics are antibacterial in nature. Please remember, antibiotics are antibacterial in nature. We are moving on to the next aspect. What is that? It's a viral diseases. Virus diseases. Virus. The word virus, regarding that you have studied last year also. Louis Pasteur was the one who introduced the word called as a virus. Poison it was called as. Okay. Now, we have listed some of the viral diseases yesterday. Today we will take one by one. I already told yesterday we are going to discuss one viral disease in detail, which is going to be common cold. Common cold. Common cold is caused by a pathogen. The name of the pathogen is called as rhinovirus. Rhinovirus. It's a very important question. Rhino means nose. That means it is affecting the which portion? Nose portion. Virus means virus. Rhinovirus is the RNA virus. Only for the viruses, sometimes I'll mention RNA or DNA. Reason, because only the viruses can have genetic material RNA or DNA. It's a RNA virus, 1 point. Second, it's a it has a high capacity of mutation. It keeps on mutating. Since it keeps on mutating, we are unable to find out any vaccine for the common cold. Fortunately, common cold decreases after maybe 3 to 7 days by itself. Otherwise, it would have been a very difficult case. So pathogen is what? The pathogen is rhinovirus, which is single-stranded, which affects which portion? Nose. Organ affected. Very important. Can you tell me which is organ affected? Yes, you are right. Nose is affected. After nose, nasal cavity is affected. That is also correct. Nose is affected. Nasal cavity is affected. Throat is affected. Up to trachea also it can be affected. Nose, nasal cavity, throat, up to trachea it can be affected. That means, is it entering lungs, students? Your answer should be no, it is not entering to lungs. That means you should try to tell it is the upper respiratory tract disease. And can you tell me which is the lower respiratory tract disease? Yes, it was pneumonia, which we discussed yesterday. Okay, so it's the upper respiratory tract disease. Which one? The disease name is common cold. Okay, we are moving on now. Mode of transmission. Surely you know that, students, is a droplet infection. Droplet infection. Person sneezes, droplets are in the air. If you inhale that, you may get the common cold. Is it spread by fomites? Answer, yes, it's spread by fomites. Fomites like what? Like maybe the objects, the utensils, the paper touched by the person who is infected by the common cold. Fomites also correct. Next, the things comes here. Fomites is over. Fomites. Then symptoms. Since the common cold is a very general one, I will not take much time here. Symptoms. First one, 100%. It starts with what? It starts with sneezing. A small baby also can tell. Sneezing means akshi, means negidi. Okay, yes, you're right. Sneezing is the one symptom, followed by second stage of that. Yes, you are right. Running nose. If you bend down, watery. It comes through the nostrils. Running nose. Little later, yes, it is the nasal congestion. Means blockage in the nose. You generally go take the help of this one, right? What is that? Otrivin. Otrivin, a nasal sprays which to get rid of nasal congestions, okay, and nasal congestion over, then followed by gantalalli kiri kiri. What is that? Sore throat. Sore throat. Then you take some of the things like strepsils. You may take it in this condition, which is called lozenges, to give soothing effect during the time of the sore throat. And then you'll be 100% having tiredness. You feel that, oh, I'm not unable to move, tiredness you'll be feeling. And sixth one, you'll be feverish. Exactly correct, you'll be feverish. And as the day progresses, your voice starts changing, and that condition is called a hoarseness. Where a voice starts changing. Reason for hoarseness is what, students? The reason for hoarseness is the laryngitis. What is laryngitis? Whenever the word tis comes, itis comes. If a word itis comes, you should tell it is the inflammation. Inflammation of the voice box or a larynx is called as laryngitis. Let me once again discuss, friends, once again. Sneezing, running nose, nasal congestion, sore throat, tiredness, fever, hoarseness means change in the voice. These are all the symptoms of the common cold. Is there any vaccine? Answer, no. Is there any medicine? If I ask you, you should tell, no, there is no medicine. But still we take some tablets? Yes, we take some tablets for the symptoms, not for the pathogen. We are not killing a pathogen there. We are not killing pathogen. We are decreasing symptoms. And what can be the medicine we take? We take the medicines which comes under a category called as antihistamines. Antihistamines, because allergy is a symptom of the common cold is because of the histamines. To decrease the histamines, we take antihistamines. You might have heard of a tablet called cetirizine hydrochloride. It is an antihistamine tablet. And several times I paid question here under the common cold is which is the causative agent? Answer is rhinovirus. And which is an upper respiratory tract disease, which one? Common cold. And these are the symptoms of the common cold. With that we will tell the end for the common cold, and it was a very basic one. Agree with me? Yes. Students, only one disease will be discussed in detail here. The AIDS will be discussed in detail later, because before we understand anything regarding AIDS, we should know regarding our immune system. Okay. Let me discuss little bit regarding other viral diseases. The other viral diseases which I am going to discuss are the following. Smallpox. The smallpox is caused by a virus called as variola virus. Before I tell anything regarding smallpox, let me tell a small story regarding that. A person called a Jenner, and he is famously known as Edward Jenner. He had an observation that the person who is infected with the cowpox, which is almost similar to smallpox but not severe. Person will suffer but will not die. A person infected with a smallpox will be immune to dash smallpox. Let me once again repeat. The person who is infected with the cowpox will be immune to the dash smallpox, and smallpox the deadliest disease. This was an observation done by whom? Edward Jenner. So what he did is, a gardener of Edward Jenner's garden, known as Sarah Names, her son called James Pipes. They were a little poor people. James Phipps agreed to be as a volunteer for this research. What Edward Jenner did, let me tell you. Edward Jenner made a small cut in a James Phipps both the hands, and he took the pus of the cowpox virus. So cowpox virus, he took a pus and he injected to the James Phipps both the hands. James Phipps got cowpox, he suffered, and later he was all right. Then now the condition comes. It's really a great thing. What is that? Great thing means who? Great thing for Sarah Ames and James Phipps who allowed this research to undergo. Now after that, Jenner took the smallpox pus, and the smallpox pus he dried it and injected to the James Phipps. What do you expect? James Phipps did not get smallpox. Why? He was immune to smallpox because in his body he had some cells called as memory cells. Which cells? Memory cells. And regarding the memory cells, I'll be discussing later. This was the origin of a concept called as what, students? Vaccination. Edward Jenner is the one who started a concept called as vaccination with regard to smallpox. You should know one thing, that smallpox is completely eradicated from the world in 1970s. Completely eradicated. Some cases were there in Somalia and Bangladesh, which was in 1970s, but later on there was no case of the smallpox. Very important. That was a discussion till now. We discussed smallpox, which is caused by variola virus. Students, I want you to today to see patients of the smallpox by referring the internet. Smallpox patients will have blisters, which is called erytheromatous blisters, means red color blisters will be there. Later it becomes dry. Dried blisters will be called scabs, and scabs will fall down and they'll have permanent marks. That was regarding smallpox. We are moving to the next one. What is that? Chickenpox, which is caused by varicella zoster. Varicella zoster. Chickenpox. First of all, why it is called a chickenpox? Reason. You might have heard of the word called chickpea, chana. The blisters in the case of the chickenpox looks like a chickpea. So the word is called chickpox. And what is the condition here? Blisters will be there, which turns into scabs, which forms marks, but mark will later mask. So that means the marks are not permanent in the case of what? In the case of chickenpox, and marks are permanent in the case of smallpox. And that is what's regarding varicella zoster and variola virus. Varicella zoster vaccines are available. That means we can take the vaccine, we can give the vaccine against chickenpox. But in many cases, a person who has taken the vaccine once again can get the chickenpox also, but severity will be less. Influenza, you might have heard the word called flu. It's caused by influenza virus. More than that is not required regarding the flu. Flu is caused by influenza virus. Measles, caused by rubeola virus. Listen here, students. Measles caused by rubeola virus. Mumps caused by paramyxovirus. Rubella, which is also called as German measles, which is caused by rubella virus. You may ask why I am discussing three diseases together, because measles, mumps, rubella. To control this, there is a vaccine called as MMR. MMR is a triple vaccine like DPT. It is used to control measles, mumps, and rubella. Let me tell a little bit about all of this. In the case of rubella, in the case of measles, in the case of rubella, measles and rubella, both symptoms are almost same. What is that? Rashes. Red color rashes will be there on the body in the case of measles as well as rubella. But what about this condition called mumps? Mumps is a condition. See here in a person's face is the region of the ear. Here he has a salivary gland called as parotid gland. Parotid gland. And parotid gland is the largest salivary gland, you know it. This paramyxovirus will infect parotid glands. Paramyxovirus, which is the causative agent of the mumps, will infect what gland? Parotid gland, and leads to inflammation. Inflammation means there will be swelling and the region becomes red color. So it leads to inflammation, swelling of the parotid gland leads to mumps, and the person will have fever and a pain also. It's a one condition over. Second condition, please listen, what is that? Mumps, if a boy gets a mumps after puberty, if he gets mumps, means after sexual maturity, if he gets mumps, there's a chance of inflammation of testis which may lead to infertility. So the boy can become in future infertile if he gets mumps after the puberty. That was regarding mumps, which is caused by paramyxovirus. Please tell me, what is a vaccine? MMR, measles, mumps and rubella. Hope you understood regarding smallpox, chickenpox, influenza, measles, mumps, rubella, and rubella is also called as German measles. We are moving on now to some other viral diseases. What is that? See here. I have taken a viral disease called as dengue. I wrote the dengue, followed by chikungunya, followed by yellow fever, followed by Zika. Now after writing all these 4 viral diseases, I have marked some boundary here. Reason is there. What is the reason? See here. Dengue, which is caused by dengue virus, chikungunya caused by chick virus or chikungunya virus, yellow fever caused by flavivirus, Zika caused by Zika virus. You may ask, sir, do we have to remember all these pathogens in detail? No. You have to remember the diseases. It is coming under which category, that you should remember. Please remember. Okay. Why I have written all these diseases together? Can anyone guess it? If you have guessed that these all are transmitted by mosquito, then you are right. The name of the mosquito is Aedes. Aedes is a mosquito which is having white and black stripes on the body, which is very active during the daytime. Okay, and that is the mosquito called Aedes is responsible for spreading this disease called dengue, chikungunya, yellow fever, and Zika. We will discuss a little bit regarding each type of viruses now. Dengue. Dengue is called as break bone disease. Break bone disease. Why it is called as break bone disease? The person who gets dengue will feel that his bone is going to be broken. Means he has a severe joint pain. Severe body ache will be there in the case of the dengue. So it's called break bone disease or break bone fever. Why fever? Because he will be feverish. So one point is over regarding dengue. Second important point, what is that? As a person gets dengue, the dengue virus enters the body. Dengue virus will cause pain, preferably around the eyes and even in the case of the joints. Later, one important factor regarding dengue, students, you know that it's regarding what? Tell me. Yes, platelet count. Platelets, which is required for clotting of the blood, goes on decreases. So the platelet count decreases during the condition of dengue, and the platelet count, if it becomes very less, maybe near to 10,000 or less than 10,000, it is a very severe condition regarding the dengue, which is also called as thrombophlebitis. because thrombocytes are the platelets, thrombocytopenia. Thrombocytopenia is a decrease in the number of the platelets. We have finished regarding the dengue. It's called as breakbone fever and platelet count decrease during the dengue. Chikungunya, caused by chikungunya virus. Here there will be more joint pain than the dengue. Joint pain, severe joint pain, which is called viral arthritis, can occur in the case of the chikungunya. Yellow fever. Why the word yellow fever? Reason, it causes problem to which part of the body? Maybe liver. And liver, when it is unable to function properly, it may lead to yellowing of the skin. Yellowing of skin. And yellowing of the skin occurs during the what condition? Yellow fever. Zika virus. Zika virus, you might have heard about recently regarding Zika virus, which is also transmitted by Aedes. Most important two questions can come under this is what? 1. Name the breakbone disease. Dengue. Among the 4 diseases, how many are caused by the Aedes mosquito? Means how many are transmitted by Aedes mosquito? All. What is the dengue, chikungunya, yellow fever and Zika? And please remember all these. These are all regarding the viral diseases which is transmitted by a mosquito called as Aedes. There is one mosquito called as Aedes aegypti, and which is preferably responsible for spreading all these diseases. Now we are moving to the next one now. Students, you might have heard about 2 movies which has become very popular after COVID-19. The one movie name was Virus, which was a Malayalam movie, and second English movie called as what? Contagion. Preferably in the case of the movie called Virus in Kerala, you have heard about this virus. What is that? Nipah virus. Kerala has Nipah virus is transmitted by bats. Means it's a origin from bats. So the bat, when it eats fruit, it has eaten the fruit half and the fruit has fallen down. And if this fruit is eaten by the pigs, and those pigs yards, if you loiter, and then you also have a chance of getting what? Chance of getting Nipah. So Nipah is transmitted by bat or pigs to the humans. Nipah virus. We are moving to the next one, SARS. These two has to be studied together. In China is the one origin of the SARS earlier. Severe acute respiratory syndrome is a SARS, which is caused by a virus whose name is coronavirus. Coronavirus is a SARS virus which leads to problem regarding respiratory system. That much if you remember enough. Now, a SARS virus, a modification, is called as virus of the COVID-19. What is that? SARS. Yesterday I wrote this. SARS. Coronavirus 2 is the Nipah, SARS and COVID-19 are the viral diseases. We are moving on to the 2 more viral diseases. One is polio and last one is the rabies. Let us quickly discuss regarding some of the points. Polio is caused by polio virus. It's once again a RNA virus. Polio is a what virus? RNA virus. And polio is called as infantile paralysis. Infantile paralysis is one other word given to polio. Reason, during the condition of polio enters the body by droplets or food. Okay, when a polio virus enters the body, it affects to the part called as CNS. When it affects CNS, it affects the part of the body and leads to a condition called as paralysis. So it's called infantile paralysis because reason is it's found preferably in infants. Hope the matter is clear. It's regarding polio, which is called as infantile paralysis. Moving on, when a person has a polio, and you should know one thing that I already told you, the smallpox is completely eradicated from the world polio is eradicated from India by a rapid vaccination, but still we don't want to take chances, so we take the vaccine called as oral polio vaccine. I told you yesterday, BCG, Bacillus calmette-guerin vaccine is given to get rid of TB. On the next day, same day, oral polio vaccine also will be given, but still you want booster dose, so you take the polios during the pulse polio day. And you should remember, oral polio vaccine is the one vaccine. There's one more vaccine called as injectable polio vaccine, IPV, OPV, where O for oral, I for injectable. And what is PV? Polio vaccine. Polio vaccine. Hope the matter is very clear. Oral polio vaccine and injectable polio vaccine. If a person gets polio, there is no cure for that. So prevention is better than cure with regard to polio. Students, you should, that was the end of the discussion regarding polio, and we are moving to the last one called as rabies. Rabies is the condition which is because of the rabies is also called as a rhabdovirus. Rhabdovirus. Virus, rhabdo, why? Rhabdo means mad. Why mad? It is transmitted because of the dog or maybe a bats, which is where the rabies virus resides. So rhabdovirus is a rabies virus. Mad. And one very important symptom in the case of rabies, what is that? It's called as hydrophobia. Fear of water is a condition of the rabies. Recently, one person, his son was bitten with a dog, and he had gone and taken the injections for rabies, but little later he also was bitten with a dog, but he did not take much care regarding that. After a few weeks, he started showing some symptoms, and soon he was admitted in the Kasturba Medical College. Then it was seen he has already crossed time. He was suffering from hydrophobia, and hydrophobia is a symptom of the rabies, and he was started little barking like a dog also. So it's called as what? Rabies. And you know that in Kannada it's called Huchunai Roga, rabies. With that, we are telling the end for the viral diseases. And hepatitis I did not discuss. Hepatitis is also a sexually transmitted disease. So that will be discussed in the reproductive health chapter. After viral diseases, friends, we are moving on to the next category. Tell me, what is the next category? Before we go for next category, I just want to bring once again our big flow chart. Yes, just to see, have we finished all of this? Tell? Yes. Common cold we have finished. Hepatitis will be discussed in reproductive health. Measles, mumps, rubella over, polio over, dengue over, chikungunya over, yellow fever over, Zika over, Nipah, SARS, COVID-19. AIDS will be discussed later, and some of the STDs which will be discussed in the chapter called as what? Reproductive health. Please remember, among these many diseases, they may give many diseases together. They may ask, in which disease, which all diseases, or how many diseases transmitted by mosquitoes? Can you guess? Yes, dengue, chikungunya, yellow fever, and Zika. Which is transmitted by dogs. Yes, that is the rabies. Which is called as infantile paralysis, polio, breakbone disease, dengue. In which condition where parotid gland swells, mumps. In which condition there will be problem for the liver and leads to the yellowing of the skin, yellow fever. It even occurs in hepatitis also, which leads to hoarseness. Yes, it's a common cold. And which condition leads to the problem regarding immune system? It's a AIDS, which we'll discuss later. We are moving on now. The next aspect which we are going to discuss will be protozoan disease. Protozoan disease. See here. Students, the protozoan disease which we are going to begin is a malaria. Malaria. When I tell the word regarding malaria, I remember regarding Africa. Reason? Malaria was preferably earlier, it was endemic to Africa. Means it was present only in Africa. But later it was spread to the different part of the world. Malaria was endemic and it's a protozoan disease. Students, in the first PUC, you have heard about one group of protozoa called as sporozoa. Do you agree with me? Yes, the sporozoa example was Plasmodium. Do you agree with me for this? Plasmodium was a sporozoa? Yes, because now I am discussing regarding Plasmodium itself. Pathogen which causes malaria is a Plasmodium. But I am writing Plasmodium once, Plasmodium once again, Plasmodium once again, Plasmodium fourth time. So why I wrote the Plasmodium 4 times? Reason, Plasmodium vivax is a one species of the Plasmodium which is responsible to cause malaria in specific areas. Plasmodium falciparum is a one more species of Plasmodium which also causes malaria. Plasmodium ovale is a one more species of the Plasmodium causes malaria. Plasmodium malariae is a one more species of the Plasmodium which causes malaria. Let me repeat once again. Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium falciparum, Plasmodium ovale, Plasmodium malaria are the 4 different species which can cause malaria. Why I have grouped all this? Reason, they were to the particular region. Means, for example, if I take Plasmodium falciparum, it was very high in Africa. But now it has become, it has spread to everywhere. But earlier it was to the Africa, like that it is. So, among these 4 Plasmodium species like Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium falciparum, Plasmodium malariae, and Plasmodium ovale, Plasmodium falciparum should be remembered more. Reason, Plasmodium falciparum causes malignant malaria. Why the word malignant malaria? Because it is responsible for lot of death in the world. It's a fatal cases. Fatal. Which one? The problem because of Plasmodium falciparum. Students, anyways, we'll be studying in a chapter called Principles of Inheritance, some correlation between a disease called sickle cell anemia and Plasmodium falciparum. You should remember that. Pathogen over, which is called as Plasmodium, and what is the organ affected? Remember, organ affected first will be liver, second will be red blood cells. Liver and red blood cells are the organ affected. Please remember, liver cells called as hepatocytes are affected by the what? Malaria. How? We will discuss later. Next word comes transmission. Who is transmitting? Remember, it is the non-contagious disease, meaning there's a requirement of dash vector. Who is a vector? It's Anopheles. You may ask, it's a male or female or both. Answer, it is what? It's a female. It's a female Anopheles mosquito which is transmitting the dash Plasmodium. You may ask why only the female Anopheles mosquito. Let me answer that. Mosquitoes are the insects, and let it be male or female Anopheles mosquito, they depend on plant sap. Plant sap is a food for them. So we call them as a phytophagus. Phytophagus they are, phytophagus. They are eating the plant sap. But female Anopheles mosquito, to nourish its egg, to take care of its egg, it requires calcium and it requires iron. So it gets calcium and iron from the blood. So it bites. So Papa, to take care its egg, it bites. Right? Next time you should not cause any problem to the Anopheles mosquito. No, we cannot, because it's a pest. Which one? Anopheles. So female Anopheles mosquito is a vector. So that is the reason malaria is the non-contagious reason, which is requires what? Vectors. Students, some in detail study has to be done regarding the malaria, unlike other things, because we are going to study now life cycle of Plasmodium. Life cycle of the Plasmodium was discussed by a person called as Ronald Ross. That will be discussed now. Let's go for that now. Let me take a fresh page for that, and you will be drawing along with me, students. It will take some time for us because there will be some drawing, and drawing the flow charts carefully. Listen carefully and you can draw along with me also. See here, students. So I have drawn something here. It's not a very beautiful diagram, but still you can understand. Let me change that. Yes, let us go for this now. Okay, so this is the person, one person's hand, okay, and he will be bitten with the mosquito. So a person's body is bitten with the mosquito. Which mosquito it is? Tell me. The mosquito name is Anopheles. Anopheles female mosquito it is. So Anopheles female mosquito is going to bite a person. And when it bites a person, to his body, Anopheles mosquito will inject the saliva. When it injects saliva to the bloodstream of a person, a infective stage of the Plasmodium enters. And what I have drawn here, let me take it outside and show you. This is a spindle-shaped structure, which is entering the bloodstream by the biting of the mosquito, which is called a sporozoite. Sporozoite. It can move. And sporozoite, since sporozoite is an infective stage of the Plasmodium, the Plasmodium is called as, is coming under what? Sporozoa. Please once again tell what is the infective stage of Plasmodium. Answer is sporozoite. So one word over, it is regarding sporozoite, which is the infective stage. And what is the shape of the infective stage? Yes, it is what? It is spindle shape. Now, from the bloodstream, writing here blood here, from the bloodstream, the sporozoite will enter the another part of the body. The another part of the body where it enters is the what? Is the liver. From the through the blood, it enters the part called as liver. And so I'm drawing the sporozoites, spindle-shaped structures inside the liver. Once again, mosquito bites, sporozoite enters the bloodstream. Through the bloodstream, the sporozoite have reached to the liver now. Now, whatever the condition occurs in the case of liver cells. I am drawing some liver cells here. Liver cells, these are all liver cells. See here. What happens? See here. This sporozoite, you know that this is a sporozoite, which has entered the liver, will change its structure into circular shaped. I have drawn what here, tell me? This is what? This is the sporozoite. That means what are these? Let us have a little difference here. These are all liver cells, hepatocytes. And inside that there is a plasmodium. This stage of the plasmodium, which has changed its shape from the spindle shaped into the round shape, will be called as schizont. Is the matter clear? Schizont. So it has become schizont, and schizont is what shape? Spherical in nature. Okay. Now what happens? See carefully here. This, what is its name now? What is this structure? It's a hepatocytes. What's hepatocytes? Cells of the liver. So inside the hepatocytes, schizonts, what is schizont? It's a stage of the plasmodium will divide. It divides by multiple fission. What is the meaning of multiple fission? If it is a binary fission, if it is in the case of what fission? If it is in the case of binary fission, friends, what happens in binary fission? One organism divides and becomes two. But in the case of multiple fission, one organism divides and becomes many. That means rapidly it increases number by what fission? Multiple fission. I am discussing regarding which fission, tell me now? Multiple fission. So this, whatever these structures called as plasmodium schizont stage will undergo multiple fission and forms large number of progeny. And this large number of progeny will be called as with the one name which you should remember, will be called as merozoites. Hope the matter is clear. What zoids? Merozoites. And what are merozoites? Merozoites are daughter cells. They are the products of the multiple fission. That means these are all what? Progeny. Progeny of what fission? Multiple fission. MF means multiple fission. As the number of merozoite increases, hepatocytes will burst. And merozoite gets released. So whatever event which has occurred here, let us write it here. So whatever is occurring in where now? Liver. See, in hepatocytes. What's hepatocytes? Cells of the liver. The stage called as plasmodium stage called as sporozoite, which has become schizont. So I can write direct here, schizont. It's a stage of the plasmodium. Undergo asexual reproduction called as multiple fission. it undergo multiple fission, a type of asexual reproduction it is, reproduction, and to produce the cells called as merozoites. Hope the matter clear. That is, merozoites are progenies. And what has happened? Now the hepatocytes has undergone a condition called as bursting. Hepatocytes are bursted now. Hope the matter is clear till now. So I'll repeat. Oh, it was not visible for you. Yeah, now it's visible for you. Let me repeat once again. See, students, here. See here what has happened. So in hepatocytes, scisons undergo multiple fission asexually to form merozoites. And what happens after forming merozoites? Hepatocytes will burst. When it bursts, what happens? When it bursts, the merozoites enters bloodstream. That means they were in the blood, they have come once again back to blood. Let me repeat once again what has till now happened. See here. Mosquito has bitten, sporozoid, a infective stage, has entered the bloodstream. From the blood, it reaches to liver. In liver cell, the sporozoid becomes spherical shaped called a schizont. Schizont undergo multiple fission, asexual reproduction, to form progenies called as merozoite. And merozoites present inside the liver cells gets burst now. Means who gets burst? Hepatocyte gets burst, merozoite gets released, and merozoites enters to where now? Blood. Now what happens? Let us see here. Now the whatever event occurring now, it's occurring in where? Blood. So in blood what happens? In the blood, the merozoites attacks this one. Attacks what? Attacks RBC. I'm drawing RBC now. So whatever event now we are discussing is occurring inside RBC. So this is the RBC, red blood corpuscle or red blood cell. Inside the RBC, who is there? Merozoites are there. So merozoites have entered into RBC. After that, what happens? See here. Merozoite will undergo once again multiple fission to form so many cells. And what is this? These are once again merozoites. Hope the matter is clear. So merozoites divide by MF. What's MF? Multiple fission to become still many what? Merozoites. And now what happens? See here. The merozoite now will burst. And not merozoite, RBC will burst. As RBC burst, who get released? Yes, merozoite gets released. And these merozoites can once again infect a new RBC. Hope the matter very clear for you. What is that? What has happened? A merozoite released from the liver, which enters to blood, enters to RBC. Here, these merozoites gets released by bursting of the RBC. Let me write here now. What is that? Merozoite. What friends? Merozoite. The merozoite enter red blood corpuscle, divide by multiple fission, and once again become merozoite. But I have to tell you a very, very important event which occurs here now. Listen carefully. What is that? See here. When a merozoite which is entering into RBC, you should know why it is entering. Simply why it will enter. Listen now. When a merozoite enters RBC, I'll explain in another paper and come back to here once again. See here. It's a merozoite, right? It enters what? It enters RBC. A merozoite enters and inside the RBC, what's happening? See, it's a plasmodium stage called as merozoite. Stage of plasmodium, which has come from the liver, and it has its own nucleus also. So what is this place? A plasmodium, and stage of plasmodium is merozoite, and it's the nucleus of that. And you should know it is the protozoa which has vacuole. Is the matter very clear? So this kind of merozoite will feed now, means eat. It eats what? If you enter the RBC, RBC contains what? RBC contains only one thing called as hemoglobin. So who feeds on hemoglobin? Merozoites feeds on hemoglobin. And hemoglobin will be split into heme and globin. And you know that globin is a protein part. And heme is the non-protein organic part. See here, what happens? Let's see here now. Merozoite attacks RBC. And it starts feeding on the HB. What's HB? Hemoglobin. As it feeds on the hemoglobin, it will touch the globin. So it will eat the globin. That means it is just like this. I'm giving you a biscuit called as cream biscuit. Cream biscuit. And you are throwing the what? Biscuits, eating only cream. Just like that. So it is eating the globin, but it is not eating the heme. So what has happened? Now heme will be converted into a structure called as hemozoin. Is the matter very clear? Heme will become hemozoin, and this hemozoin formed by metabolism of the heme will be responsible for fever in the case of malaria. What is that? Chill and fever. Chill means the person's body temperature decreases, fever, his body temperature increases. So chills and high fever is because of the which one? Hemozoin, which is formed by metabolism of the heme. Let me repeat once again quickly now. See here. Merozoite attacks the RBC. It feeds on the what? Hemoglobin. And it feeds hemoglobin. It splits the hemoglobin to heme and globin. Globin will be eaten. Heme will become hemozoin. Hemozoin will be responsible for chills and high fever. Is the matter very clear? One interesting thing was discussed by a person called Signet. What is that? See here. As the merozoite feeds the hemoglobin, its vacuole size goes on increasing. As its vacuole size goes on increasing, it pushes the nucleus to periphery. So nucleus is pushed towards periphery and vacuole size increasing. So it gives the appearance like this. And this appearance looks like a ring. And this ring is called as what ring you know? Signet ring. Is the matter clear? And the signet ring stage is seen in where? It is seen in RBC, red blood corpuscles. Is the matter clear? So this was regarding the conditions occurring inside the what? Inside the RBC done by merozoite. Come back once again here. See here. Merozoite attacks what? RBC. And it feeds what? It feeds on dash. It feeds on the HB. What's HB? Hemoglobin. And as it feeds hemoglobin, later it produces a chemical called as hemozoin. And hemozoin responsible for chills and high fever. And chills and high fever is a condition because of the dash, because of the hemozoin. Several times appeared question it is. What is a toxic chemical formed? Hemozoin. What is the symptoms of because of that? It is a high fever and chills. I have to tell one thing to you students. What is that? See, when a merozoite enters the RBC, person is not getting any fever or chills. And merozoites divides by multiple fission, then also person do not get any problem. But when after multiple fission, when RBC gets ruptured and merozoite gets released and the hemozoin comes to the blood, then person starts feeling feverish. That means after little later what happens is it once again attacks new RBC, right? There will be chance of some gap. During this gap, there may not be any fever. And person feels what? Person feels that he is completely got cured. But is it cured? No. He may once again get the condition of the malaria. So this is called relapsing condition. This relapsing condition can occur in the case of malaria. This you have to remember. Okay. So I was discussing regarding the relapsing of the condition and because of the hemozoin. Listen the next word carefully. This whatever event has occurred till now, it has occurred in where? It has occurred inside the body of the human body. It has occurred in the human body. Now what happens? Listen carefully. See here. In the human body, inside the human body, what may occur sometimes is like this. This is what, tell me now? Merozoite. This merozoites, without infecting new RBC, this merozoid found inside the RBC. So this is the RBC, and these are the merozoites. Merozoites can enter the size, male smaller size. And what is this? Remember, this is the macro. Macro means bigger. Gametocyte. Macro gametocyte. And what is this? This is the micro gametocyte. Macrogametocyte, microgametocyte. These two are what? Gametocytes, and gametocyte formation is the beginning of what stage? Sexual stage. Sexual stage started, and you should ask one question to me, sir, are they gametes? They are not gametes, they are gametocytes, means which can form gametes. I have to repeat all this once again, otherwise you will be confused. See once again. What is that? It is the person's body, and mosquito has bitten, saliva is injected, sporozoid enters the body. Sporozoid enters the liver through the bloodstream. In liver, it becomes a shape which is spherical called zygont. Zygont undergo multiple fission to become merozoite. Liver cell gets bursted. After bursting of the liver cell, that merozoites attacks what? Attacks RBC. Attacks RBC can undergo what? What fission? Multiple fission. And when it undergo multiple fission, and later the RBC gets bursted. And remember, when RBC gets bursted, it releases what? Hemozoin. And hemozoin is responsible for chills and high fever. But you remember, some of the merozoite can enter the sexual stage by becoming male and female gametocytes. Hope the matter is very clear. I'll be explaining this once again with the help of textbook diagram. Hope all of you have a textbook with you. I will give little time. Please open the page number 148 of the textbook, because I will be explaining this concept once again. See here. Very important, should be studied in detail. See, person's hand, and you observe it carefully, students, and whatever you see here, these are all what shape? Spindle shaped. And what is this one? You tell me now. Yes, it's a sporozoite. Right or wrong? And sporozoite through the bloodstream enters to what? Which organ? Liver. And what happens in liver? It undergo what fission? Multiple fission. Read this. The parasite reproduce asexually in the liver cells, bursting the cell and released into blood. It has entered blood now. What are these cells, you tell me? Yes, they are merozoites. And this merozoite enters where? Enters the RBC, red blood corpuscles. And in RBC, it once again undergo what fission? Multiple fission, and RBC gets bursted. What is given here? See here. Parasite reproduce asexually in the red blood cells, bursting the red blood cells and causing cycles of fever and symptoms. And what is the chemical released? Hemozoin. You are right. See here now. These merozoites, what are these? Merozoites inside the RBC, inside the red blood corpuscles, enter what stage? Sexual stage by becoming gametocytes. Which gametocytes? Female gametocytes, male gametocytes. I want you to please carefully observe that. Female gametocytes are larger in size. Can you see that? Larger in size. Male gametocytes are smaller in size. Which is macrogametocyte then? Female gametocyte. Microgametocytes, male gametocytes. Where does these gametocytes are present? They are present inside the RBC. Hope the matter is very clear. Quickly, infects, enters liver, liver cell burst, enters RBC, RBC burst. Then what happens? Inside the RBC, some of the cells become gametocytes. Till now, have you seen any fertilization occurring? Answer is no. There is no fertilization. If there is no fertilization, it's an indication that it is a type of asexual reproduction occurred till now. That means in the case of human, the reproduction is only asexual because there is no fertilization, not even a gamete formation. That is the reason human is called as secondary host. Human is secondary host. Then who is the primary host? Yes, it's a mosquito, which we'll discuss now. See here. What has happened? These gametocytes enters. This gametocyte enters mosquito once again. Why? A infected person will be bitten by a mosquito. When mosquito sucks the blood, gametocytes also entering into where? Entering into the human body. That means I am discussing now, sorry, I will repeat once again. Gametocytes are entering into whose body? Mosquito's body. Are you understanding? So in mosquito's body, what happens? Let us discuss now. In mosquito's body, what has entered? I am drawing now. Yes. The gametocytes inside the mosquito's body. Gametocytes bigger, gametocytes smaller. Bigger is called as macro, smaller is called as micro. Is the matter clear? Macrogametocytes, microgametocytes. Now, these gametocytes present in the mosquito's body will form gametes. So the gametes which is formed by the macro means female, micro means male, will be what? Will be macrogametocytes will form female gamete. Microgametocytes will form male gamete. Let me make the male gamete motile. So let me repeat once again. This is the male, it is a female gamete. It is the male gamete. Hope you understood. Female gamete and male gamete. This female and male gamete will undergo fusion. Oh, fusion, type of sexual reproduction it is. And when a male and female gamete gets fused, it becomes a structure called as what? Zygote. And where does this event occurs? It occurs in the gut. Gut of what? Gut of the mosquito. So what has formed now? The zygote has been formed by fusion of the male and female gamete occurring in the mosquito's body. See carefully now. Zygote what has formed now will become a structure called as ookinete. Ookinete. And what is this ookinete? It is a motile zygote. Motile zygote is called as ookinete. And this motile zygote called ookinete will be covered by some of the wall layers. That means if I take, students, see here now, if I take this as a ookinete. This is a ookinete. This ookinete will be covered by still more layers. See here now, I'm covering the ookinete with the layers. So this structure, where I'm drawing a layer, and inside the layer, what tell me? Ookinete. If I draw, this structure will be called oocyst. Oocyst it's called as oocyst. Oocyst and ookinete. Ookinete becomes oocyst. Now what happens? All of you listen carefully. For that, let me take one more paper for the explanation purpose. See here now. This is the mosquito's head, maybe. Is a body of the mosquito like this. If I take it, here is a gut region. You know that it's a crop region, gizzard region, mid-gut region, all like this. It's a gut region of the mosquito. In the gut region of the mosquito, here is a what now? Here is the, so let me take the gut region outside now. Okay, so it's a gut region. So here if I take, this is the oocyst. So what happens to oocyst? Just here. Oocyst comes out. Oocyst comes out. I'm drawing a oocyst here. Oocyst comes out and oocyst is covered by the layer. Agree with me? Now what happens? See here now. So now this oocyst undergo MF. What's MF, you tell me? Multiple fission. So it undergoes multiple fission to form what? To form the structures called a sporozoite. Is the matter very clear? So sporozoite is formed inside the what? Inside the oocyst. Clear? And what happens? So I'm drawing now sporozoite. What shape? Spindle shape. The spindle-shaped oocytes present in the, spindle-shaped sporozoid present in the oocyst now gets released outside. How they get released outside? By bursting of the oocyst. Oocyst gets bursted, they release outside and they'll come to a region called as salivary gland of the what? Salivary gland of the mosquito. That means ultimately sporozoids are reaching to where? Salivary gland. Is the matter very clear? Let me repeat once again. The oocyst will undergo multiple fission, and undergoing multiple fission and releases and undergo multiple fission to form sporozoid, and sporozoid get released from the oocyst and reaches to salivary gland. That means you tell me they're released into which region? Released into region called body cavity. Through the body cavity, they are entering into salivary gland. Come back once again here, students. See here, oocyst. Oocyst undergo multiple fission and become sporozoid. And sporozoid enters to what? Enters to salivary gland. So this is sporozoid. And stored in where? Salivary gland of what? Mosquito. And now what happens? Once again mosquito bites. And when a mosquito bites, sporozoid enters the human's body. So you find that this is the part whatever occurred in the mosquito's body. This has occurred in the case of what? Human body. So I can tell the life cycle is digenetic. Means there are two hosts. You tell me, who is the primary host? Yes, it's a mosquito. Mosquito is a primary host. And who is the secondary host? Yes, secondary host is a human. Students, I will keep the paper like this for some time. You take a picture of it. Then I'll explain it once again. Yes, sorry. Yeah, now we can take down. Hope you're taken down, then you can retain and see later. So let me once again repeat quickly, students. This has to be explained twice. I'll explain now. I'll explain the textbook diagram once again, how what is happening in the mosquito's body. Lot of breeze. Yeah, see here. Let us explain from the beginning here. Mosquito has bitten, enters liver, undergo multiple fission, enters RBC, undergo multiple fission, releases hemozoin responsible for chills and high fever, and some of the merozoite become gametocytes, male and female gametocytes. They are gametocytes, not gametes. Remember, gametocytes enters the mosquito's body, and this gametocyte which is entering into mosquito body, as here female mosquito takes up the gametocytes with the blood meal, and gametocytes undergo fertilization. See here, they undergo fertilization. So fertilization and development takes place in the mosquito's gut. I explained it, right? Yeah. So in the mosquito's gut, what happens? They become ookinete, means motile zygote. Then motile zygote here, mature infective stage sporozoid escape from the gut. I told you, escape from the gut by bursting of the oocyst and migrates to the mosquito's salivary gland. And where it is stored? In the salivary gland. And when mosquito is biting another person, sporozoids once again injected, life cycle continues. How many hosts here? Mosquito is one host, human is secondary host, and mosquito is the primary host because of sexual reproduction. Human is the secondary host because there is no formation of gametes or there is no fusion, so human is a secondary host. I'll be explaining this finally once again. Quickly it is explanation. Listen carefully. See here now what has happened. It is the human. What has happened? See here. The sporozoid enters. Sporozoid enters into liver later. In the liver, multiple fission occurs to produce merozoite. And this merozoite enters the RBC by bursting of the liver cell. And it enters RBC, and inside the RBC undergo multiple fission once again. Forms mini merozoite. This merozoite gets released by what fission? By bursting of the RBC. And when it bursts RBC, it can release which chemical? Hemozoin. And hemozoin leads to chills and high fever. Right? Some of the progeny merozoites can become gametocytes. And gametocyte is the beginning of sexual stage. And it occurs inside the what? It occurs inside the RBC. And when gametocytes are taken by the mosquito, during the mosquito bite, whatever the later events occurring in mosquito's body now. So the gametocytes in the mosquito body will form gametes. Which gamete? Female and male gamete. Correct? And male and female gamete will fuse to form zygote. And zygote become a motile zygote. What is that? Ookinete. And motile zygote ookinete becomes oocyst covered by wall layer. Oocyst undergo multiple fission to become sporozoite. And sporozoite will migrate to salivary gland and stored in the salivary gland. And from the salivary gland, during the mosquito bite, it once again enters to the human body. Hope the matter is very clear for you. So till now we were discussing regarding the digenetic life cycle of the Plasmodium, a parasite of the malaria. And who is a vector? It's a mosquito. See students, it's already time now. Life cycle of the mosquito has been explained. Today you have to go through the textbook, or even you can go through the study material and try to understand regarding the life cycle of the mosquito. tomorrow I'll be giving a flow chart of it, and I'll be little bit explaining once again. And as since you're studying once and I'll be explaining once again, it will be very clear for you. Is the matter very clear? I have not discussed last aspects of the malaria, which will be discussed tomorrow. And with that, I'll tell once again. Today we have discussed some of the bacterial disease. We revised it and we finished it. Then we went for viral diseases. We finished all the viral diseases. Then we entered into protozoan diseases. In the protozoan disease, we took the malaria, and malaria is a very important one, and we discussed in detail regarding life cycle of malarias, means life cycle of malarial parasite called as Plasmodium. And this Plasmodium's malaria life cycle involves two hosts. One is human, one is mosquito. So it is a digenetic life cycle. Let's meet tomorrow. Study very well and be prepared and come for tomorrow's class. Thank you. See you tomorrow.